Hello, all the curious minds out there, and welcome to our channel, A Dip to Life. We'll start with the Indian philosophy, and this is the introductory video to Indian philosophy. These are the contents we'll go through in this video. First, introduction to philosophy. Second, list of schools of Indian philosophy. Third, classification of schools. And the fourth one is common characteristics of schools of IP. First, let's see the introduction to philosophy. What is philosophy basically? The word philosophy is derived from two Greek words. The first word, philo, which means love, and the second one, Sophia, which means wisdom. So, the literal meaning of philosophy is love of wisdom. As we all know that each and every individual wishes to lead his life in the light of his knowledge of himself and the world. वो सिर्फ अपनी जो immediate consequences होते हैं actions के वो ही नहीं देखते. They considers their far-reaching consequences. So we can say that philosophy is an attempt to satisfy this very reasonable desire for knowledge. So before understanding the Indian philosophy, let's see what are the branches of philosophy. There are four main branches of philosophy, namely axiology, logic, metaphysics, and epistemology. First, we'll start with axiology. Axiology is the branch of philosophy that considers the study of principles and values. This branch of philosophy is divided into two main kinds. The first one is ethics and the second one is aesthetics. Ethics is the questioning of morals and personal values, while aesthetics is the examination of what is beautiful, enjoyable, or tasteful. Now, let's move on to the second branch, that is logic. So, logic is a very interesting branch. It seeks to organize reasoning of the students. Like students of logic learn how to think in a structurally sound manner. The third one is metaphysics. Metaphysics is the branch of philosophy that considers the physical universe and the nature of ultimate reality. Meta means beyond and physics. So metaphysics deals with the questions of beyond physics, like what is real, what is the origin of world, what is beyond the stars. It deals with the nature, man and God. Then the last one is epistemology. Epistemology is the branch of philosophy that considers how people come to know what they know. It is derived from a Greek word epistem, which means knowledge or understanding. So we can say that epistemology refers to the nature and origin of knowledge and truth. That was our first segment. Now let's move on to the second one, that is list of schools of Indian philosophy. There are 9 schools in Indian philosophy: the Charvaka system, the Jaina system, the Buddha system, the Nyaya system, the Vaisheshika system, the Sankhya system, the Yoga system, the Mimamsa system, the Vedanta system. Now, the third one is classification of schools of Indian philosophy. This is the whole classification of schools of Indian philosophy. According to a traditional principle of classification, the schools or systems of Indian philosophy are divided into two broad classes, namely heterodox or Nastika and orthodox or Astika. So, as in our day-to-day life, we see that people, those who does not believe in God, are called as Nastika, and those who believe in God are called as Astika. So, we categorize them in heterodox or orthodox on the basis of their belief in God. But in Indian philosophy, we categorize these schools not on the basis of their beliefs on God, but they're on the basis of their beliefs on Vedas. So heterodox schools are those schools which do not believe in the authority of Vedas, And the schools which come under this category are Charvaka, Bodha, and Jaina. And the Orthodox schools are called Orthodox because they believe in the authority of Vedas. Then again, Orthodox schools are divided into two categories: schools directly based on Vedic text and the schools based on independent grounds. So we'll see that the Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, and Vaisheshika based their theories on ordinary human experience and reasoning. They do not challenge the authority of Vedas, but they tried to show that the testimony of Vedas was quite in harmony with their rationally established theories. And the schools which are directly based on Vedic text are further divided into two categories. So, to understand this, first we have to understand the Vedic tradition. So, the Vedic tradition had two sides: ritualistic and speculative, which are also known as karma and jnana. The Mimamsa school emphasized on the ritualistic aspect, and the Vedanta school emphasized on the speculative aspect. As both these schools were direct continuation of Vedic text, both are sometimes called by the common name Mimamsa. And to differentiate them, the first is called Purva Mimamsa or Karma Mimamsa, and the second one is called Uttara Mimamsa or Jnana Mimamsa. So this was the whole broad classification of schools of Indian philosophy. Though there are many other schools, but these are the major ones. So we'll study these only. Now let's move on to the fourth and the last segment of our video, that is common characteristics of the schools of IP. This section is very important and please note down all the points. These are the common features of schools of Indian philosophy. The first one is philosophy is a practical necessity. So it's a general misconception that philosophy mainly deals with the things that do not have any relevance in our practical life. Philosophy in general is concerned with the ultimate question of human life. Yes, it is true that the ancient philosophers and or the ancient thinkers were not very much concerned about the day-to-day problems of practical life. They just love to speculate on the genuine and ultimate issues of human life. But the Indian philosophers very well understood that philosophy and life had a close relation. They also believed that life could be best led by following a good philosophy. And the second one is schools are initially pessimistic but discovers hope later. As we'll move further, as we'll study the different schools of Indian philosophy, we'll relate to this point. Every school of the Indian philosophy begins on a pessimistic note. First, let me explain what is pessimism. So, we can say that an attitude of mind which views the darker side is known as pessimism. Initially, all the philosophers pointed out the sufferings, the miseries of life, and the evils human life are facing. But the point which has to be noted here is that though the schools started at pessimistic note, but they didn't end at pessimistic note. They always ended at optimistic note. All the philosophers in every school make sure to show us the right path towards the end of suffering, to end the suffering, to free us from the miseries of life. The third one is belief in eternal moral order. Belief in eternal moral order is another feature that is commonly found to be present in the systems of Indian philosophy. And the Charvaka system is the exception here. We'll discuss about this later. Then Indian philosophy believes that the whole universe is being governed and sustained by a universal moral order. And this universal moral order is eternal and nobody can violate this order. Nobody can go against this order. Then the fourth one is ignorance as the root cause of suffering. So ignorance about the true nature of things gives rise to attachment to the worldly objects that can gratify our senses. So that such attachments to object of sense makes man slave to their desires, passions, etc. ignorance towards reality, ignorance towards knowledge creates a hindrance in the path of acquiring true knowledge of ultimate reality. We can say that it is a state of bondage. Here, by bondage, which we means birth and rebirth. Freedom from this state can be obtained only through the right knowledge of things. The fifth feature is liberation as the ultimate goal of life. So, system of Indian philosophy, and again, the Charvaka system is the exception here, takes liberation or freedom from bondage to be the ultimate good of human life. Liberation means complete cessation of suffering. Different systems of Indian philosophy have given different views about the nature of liberation, but all agrees in the point that liberation signifies an end to miseries of life. And the last one is discussion on epistemological issues. As I have already explained what is epistemology, and the discussion of epistemological issues means that every system of Indian philosophy discusses how we'll obtain the right knowledge, how we will obtain the right knowledge which will lead us to the ultimate goal of our life, which will free us from the state of ignorance. So these were the six characteristics of schools of Indian philosophy. Okay guys, so this was it for this video. We'll upload the video on Charvaka system very soon. And thanks for watching. If you liked our video, please do subscribe our channel, like and comment down below. And also if you have any queries related to this video, kindly write down in comment section. We'll address your query or mail us at adiptolife@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Take care.